cool gear, and that lets you save.
Look here.
True Form Life.
Green look on it.
Welcome to another edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. We are the only health and fitness show in Central Alberta. Today we're featuring an interview with your local chiropractor. Dr. Michael Lentz has stopped in to have a chat with us, and we're going to tell you about who we are and what we do. All that and so much more coming up on...
This is Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert on 96.5 CKFM.
In one of the previous shows, I talked about our True Form members and how much I appreciate the group we have. We had a gathering the other week, and I had a chance to sit down with them and talk for a few minutes. I wanted to be clear on who we are together and what we have created, because so many times we forget or don't give ourselves enough credit on how positive people can be when they come together for a common purpose. I sat down and wrote a couple of paragraphs of who we are and what we do, all in which I wanted to share with you. Who we are. We're mothers, teachers, neighbors, friends, and family that have come together to make a decision. We've come together to live healthier lives, to influence others, and to lead by example. We've made a choice that living healthy is a priority, increasing our confidence and feeling better about our overall being. We have raised our standards. What we do? We have committed to exercise together on a regular basis. We share healthy snacks and ideas. We're those who engage in healthy conversations about food, sharing with one another what works for each one of us. We support, encourage, and motivate one another. We are accountable to one another. We watch healthy documentaries, we fundraise, run relays, and often get together outside of class. This is what we do. This is who we are. This wasn't written by me. This is written by our members. These are our actions, and this is what we do. This letter will be shared with each individual that is interested in joining, so they know up front who we are and what we do. They will then be given a period of time to agree if they're interested in joining the unique group that we are. I also announced class will be closed till the end of summer and reopen for registration on September 1st. At the end of next week, we'll be closing registration. I often talk about raising your standards and expecting more of yourself, along with not giving ourselves enough credit for our accomplishments. This is why I've decided to change the format of registration for group members. At times, you run into the odd person that changes the whole dynamics of a group. It doesn't happen very often, but if you get a truly negative person, they change the whole energy of the workout. We've worked hard to become the group we have. People have come and gone for different reasons, and the ones that have stayed work hard each week on building the relationships we have together. I believe it's very important to protect the relationships we've built and make them stronger. The other main reason I've closed classes for the summer and written a mission statement for others interested is because as a business owner, we spend a lot of time looking for more customers. We spend money on marketing and constantly making an effort looking to increase clientele and revenue, expanding business. Personally, I've spent a lot of time and money, and most importantly, energy, on looking for new people to join, which looking back was a good lesson, but not something I'm going to continue doing. An important lesson in life is appreciating what you have. So I've decided to invest in the people that have invested in me. I've decided to give my members my undivided attention instead of putting more energy and effort into those that aren't with us. We are an incredible group, and although there will need to be an agreement and waiting period, we aren't an exclusive group that don't want new people to join. What we're looking for is supportive people that really want to make a difference in their lives and in others they're surrounded by. This is the movement we've created. This is what we expect of ourselves, and this is what we expect of others. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
True Form Life.
On last episodes of Exploring Mind and Body, I introduced Michael Lentz, who's a local chiropractor. He's here today, and I'm going to tell you a few words about him before we begin. He's owned his own chiropractic practice in Olds since 2000. He's been the team chiropractor of the Olds Grizzlies for the past 12 seasons, and he's currently enrolled in clinical neuroscience program. So without further ado, let's welcome Michael to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Drew.
Again, thanks for being in here with us. We appreciate another professional being involved with Exploring Mind and Body.
Well, it's great to have the opportunity to be here and just to talk a little bit about chiropractic with you.
All right, before we jump into it, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, I think you covered most of the basics. I've had my own chiropractic clinic here in Olds for 11 years, almost 12, and I've worked with the Olds Grizzlies for 12 seasons, and that really is always interesting, and sure enjoy working with those guys. And you also mentioned that I'm currently taking an extra clinical neurology course. It's kind of an advanced chiropractic neurology course once a month, and it's about a 3-year program, so it's pretty intense, but it's really exciting. It's a lot of new, really good information. So.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's jump into it. Why don't you begin by telling us what chiropractic is?
All right. Well, actually, before I can really tell you what chiropractic is, it seems that most people out there seem to have an idea of what chiropractic is. If you ask anybody on the street, they'd probably have their own answer. It may or may not be totally true, but it seems like everybody either has had experience themselves with chiropractors or know someone who has, or they've heard something in the media, and it's not always all true. So I kind of find it best if we can just deal with some of what chiropractic is not first.
That sounds good. Yeah, let us know.
All right. So for starters, most people know of the chiropractic adjustment. A lot of people will describe it as a cracking of the bones. And that's just one method of treatment that some chiropractors do use. Now, that is not chiropractic. That's not all there is to it. Some people think that that's all they do is they just crack your bones and that's all. But there's so much more to it. There are many different methods and techniques that different chiropractors use, just depending on their education, their training, as well as on the person, their condition, and the things that they're treating that way. But basically, it all has to do with influencing the nervous system. The typical chiropractic adjustment that you hear of is very powerful, a very strong stimulus to the nervous system, and has a lot of effects, very strong and powerful effects. And so that's why it gets used most often. But
Do you find that people are afraid from chiropractors because of that reason?
Well, some people are, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is they really just don't have a good understanding. They hear a little bit about what it is or what it's like, but they don't have a true understanding of what's going on with their body, especially with the chiropractic adjustment. Sometimes that noise can be a little unnerving. But once you get a better understanding of exactly what's happening with your joints and what we're doing through there, it's not quite so scary. And the safety of the chiropractic adjustment is very well established. That's one of the big things that I wanted to sort of clear up and get out there is that if you're not comfortable with that kind of a chiropractic adjustment, there's a lot of other techniques that can be used. And you just need to discuss it with your chiropractor, what you're comfortable with, and some other things that they may be able to do in order to help you.
All right, so is that the main misconceptions of your profession?
Well, that's certainly one of them, and it's one that we've had to deal with right from the beginning, and it's still out there today. But there are some other things, and part of it probably goes along with it, is a lot of people think that chiropractors have an inferior education. And that's simply not true either. Chiropractors have a bachelor's degree, and then after that, another approximately 5 years of continuing education at a chiropractic school to get their doctorate degree. So we really are doctors.
So where does it come from for people to say that chiropractors aren't educated or...
We're not really sure. You know, it seems that people have some idea that from what we do, it seems so simple. It must not take a lot of education or training, but it really does. The program itself is very similar in length and intensity to medicine, but just with a little different focus. We still have, like I said, a bachelor's degree, then another 5 years of clinical training as well as clinical experience, and then we also have to have 25 years of continuing education every year. So wow. we continue on with our education, and it's constantly developing and growing. So we're highly educated, and we really are doctors. That's another thing is some people don't think we're real doctors. We're not medical doctors, but we are definitely doctors.
So do you like when people refer to you as doctor?
Well, it's an earned degree, and so really we are doctors, and you know people should be aware of that.
Let's jump into the meat and potatoes here. What are the benefits of chiropractic?
Like I said, it's more than just an adjustment, and in that respect, we do a whole lot more than just back pain, which is probably the most common thing that people think of. Back pain is one thing that we tend to be very good at, but there's a whole lot of other things that we can do because we deal with the nervous system. And your nervous system controls everything in your body. And that is based on the information that it gets from your body. And the spine has a lot to do with that. It has a big influence on your nervous system. So as chiropractors, we deal mainly with the spine and muscles to influence your nervous system and make sure that's functioning as well as it can. But everything else depends on it.
All right, so when someone comes to you and they say, what can you do for them? Let's say a lot of times people think fitness specialists are only there to help you lose weight. What is maybe a misconception, or what's the main benefit that you can offer people that aren't exactly sure what you do but want to come in and use your services? Yeah,
it really depends on the person and what they're looking for. Now, again, most commonly we'll see people initially because they're in pain. And again, we're usually fairly good at helping them get rid of the pain, but that's not everything. the other thing that we do is we help them to get better and function better. And that's the big thing, is getting their nervous system functioning better so that everything else in their life can be better. Your health will improve because your nervous system controls everything. Sometimes we need to get you out of the pain first, but then if we can help your nervous system function better, everything else is going to function better as well.
That's perfect. That's great. I think it was a great introduction to get people interested in knowing who you are and what you do. So we would be happy to have you on the show again in the future, and hopefully you'll join us and give us some more insight on chiropractic.
Well, I'd sure be happy to be on your show again. And if you or your listeners have any other questions for me anytime, that would be great. They can certainly contact you, or they're welcome to contact my office as well anytime, 403-507-2788. And I will be happy to help out with that.
This is Dr. Michael Lentz. He's jumped on board with True Form. He's their main sponsor with us now, and they're going to be a part of what we're doing. So this is our local chiropractor, so if you're looking for the services, you know where to go.
Exploring mind and body with True Form's Drew Tadia would not be possible without the help from the following sponsors: AG Foods in Didsbury, Shoppers Drug Mart, Health Street in the Cornerstone Shopping Center Olds, and the CLC Fitness Center. All of them uniting together for a healthier tomorrow. To find out more about True Form Life or to become a sponsor of the show, visit TrueFormLife.com.
I titled this segment Not Feeling Well because I don't like the words I'm sick. Words hold their own energy. I read parts of this fantastic book that I'll share with you at a later date, which experimented with positive and negative words. The short of it, they put water into cups to freeze and wrote words on the outside of the cup. The frozen crystals of water grew differently when different words were placed on the outside of the cup. There were harsh words and there were pleasant words. Clearly, the cups that had words placed on the outside like love or peace grew beautifully and symmetrically, extending, almost looking alive. The cups with the harsh words didn't grow very well at all. The crystals almost grew inward, not expanding. They didn't grow symmetrically, and kind of all over the place. The crystals honestly looked unhappy. There are other studies like this with plants and how they grow being spoken to differently, which doesn't mean much to doubters, but words really do make a difference. There's countless studies on not only children, but grown adults being put into a study group and being told there's something they aren't. Every time, the results show after you've been told something long enough, you'll start to believe it. Going back to being sick. I'm not saying a person isn't sick, but when you're not feeling well, it seems as though a whole lot of negative emotions arise. You ache, you sweat, you can't sleep, you're miserable. We've all been there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I really feel these negative emotions and feelings, and most importantly words, keep us not feeling well for much longer than need be. Why do we need to express how horribly we're feeling to everyone that walks by? Why can't we fake it till we make it? Why don't we will ourselves to feel better? Many times when we're not feeling well, we get away from what we enjoy. We get away from what makes us feel good. So not only are we not feeling good, but we're not doing the things that make us feel good. We curl up in a ball, surround ourselves with Kleenex and negative thoughts. Action, movement, and fresh air can do wonderful things. Most importantly, our thoughts and our words is what's really going to make a difference. If we can find a way to take ourselves out of that negative state, the one that sits right next to feeling sorry for ourselves, we start to realize maybe we're not feeling that bad after all. As you know, I believe in prevention as opposed to treatment. But I understand there comes a time when it's too late and it's time for treatment. So instead of looking into the medicine cabinet for treatment, I've got a few different ideas that have helped me when I wasn't feeling well. Make sure not to miss a meal. Our bodies need the nutrients from food to heal ourselves. I like liquid echinacea and water. My favorite is hot tea with ginger, honey, and lemon. Don't forget about miso soup. One of the only times I'll eat soy products. I found this incredible herbal remedy called 7 Lives. And then, of course, there's garlic and vitamin C to strengthen our immune systems, which can be found in camu, oranges, strawberries, and kiwi. Above all else, change your mindset, change your actions, and change the words you're using about your overall health.
True Form Life.
As always, I'm your host, True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with True Form's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. For more on True